Children of the Corn.
Sweet. All
Hey,
right.
Albert.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm
Great.
good. I gotta say, I am stoked because to talk to all three of you at the same time, because I watched Children of the Corn, and I love a good horror movie. And with all the reboots coming out today, this was actually a good one. I liked the new vision of this. So great job, all three of you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So my first question is for Kurt. What inspired you to write this new vision of the Stephen King story?
Well, I know they've made a bunch of them, and I certainly haven't seen them all. But really, it was the original source material that Stephen King wrote, and the written page is the thing that I really started with. But it also struck me that there's an opportunity there that could be explored. Which is that this is a movie about children rising up and sort of taking control of their own destinies when their parents are kind of screwing up their future and the world around them. And I thought, and the original was about that too, although it was a little bit more based on religion. But, there's some certain issues today about the world, the direction that the earth is going in. And I can see why kids might be, concerned about their future. And I thought, every other one, I believe, has been told from the parents' point of view. And when, to my mind, it's the kids are the victims in this story, and so, and the parents are the villains. And so I thought this should be told. We should at least try and tell it once from the children's point of view.
Yeah, and what I really liked was the fact that the teenagers, like Elena's character, they're coming into adulthood, and yet they're still seen as kids. So it's kind of a double entendre with that. And that's what I found interesting with her character being the lead. And Elena, like I said, you did a tremendous job on this because your character was coming of age, but yet in your dad's eyes, you're still just a kid. So it's kind of like that balance that really shook the film.
That's a really good observation. Hold on, Elena. I just want to real quick. It's a really good observation because she is neither accepted by the adults nor the children, because people like Kate and her friends, they're always giving them the side eye. They're like, and she says it, whose side are you on? You've got to choose. And so you're exactly right. She's got a foot in both worlds, but neither world accepts her.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And we were just talking about this. That was what was so interesting and unnerving in reading the script, Albert, because it's like, where does she belong? She is kind of in this limbo. She's in this purgatory, kind of like the town's in its own kind of limbo. Or is this whole thing happening? Like, is it all a dream? Is it a hallucination? Are they just in purgatory? Like, it is, there's many theories you could spawn from it, but that in and of itself was really interesting with this character and her being on the precipice of womanhood. Then you've got Eden on the precipice of becoming a teenager as well. So there's so much going on, and how these two leaders end up manifesting, one with chaos and savagery and the other one with reason and order. But I always look for a Shakespearean angle in anything I work on. And I felt like there was order and disorder. And that's like a classic Shakespearean thing. And I was like, oh, I love that. And the fact too, that I love when setting feels like its own character, when it has a strong enough presence that reading the script, it feels like it's your scene partner too. And to me, the Corn has that. And even when we were shooting it, you should have the Corn in on this interview, Albert. It was so,
No, but we should get the Corn creature on here. We should get He Who Walks as part of this. Especially sitting with Kate here, because Kate was the one whose character believed in that. And Kate, I gotta tell you, you were one of the most evil children I've ever seen in films. And it's been a long time since we had something of that nature. I mean, granted, Megan was played by a 12-year-old, but that's besides the point. But still, Kate, you did a tremendous job. What was it like playing Eden as this insane, possessed character? What was that
Kate
like?
was 11.
Yeah, I was 11. It wasn't as difficult as people may think it was, probably because of the way that, I was allowed to character, because working with Kurt and working with all of the cast and the crew, like Elena too, we were able to basically build Eden from the ground up, and we were able to create her character as the story went on, so she could have this this arc throughout the story. And I thought that was super cool. But also she's just a strong and super independent, I'm gonna have a goal and I'm gonna get it type of character. And I feel like it was a challenge to portray, but also it was really exciting for me because this was something new.
I love that, Kate. Kate, I love you describe your character of Eden Edwards as a go-getter.
Go get
Kind
her.
of was, but like even though she survived this massacre in opening of the film, I thought that was gonna be like the trigger for like her becoming who she becomes. But then when she sees the cornfield, it's obvious what the real evil was that turned her into this, little monster of sorts. And I gotta tell you guys, one of my favorite actors is in this movie, Bruce Spence. I mean, as the pastor. I mean, that dude is like an Australian legend. It must have been great work for him.
He is such a sweetheart. He's so sweet and so tall. Oh my god.
He's one of these actors, and you meet them from time to time, particularly when they're older and they've done it all, and they really know everything about the camera, and they know everything about performance, and he just turns it on and it's perfect every time. I mean, he knows it's really absolutely a joy to work with that guy.
Yeah, and there's also Callan Mulvey, and for those who might not know who he is, he was in Captain America: The Winter Soldier, Batman versus Superman. He even was in a Jackie Chan film, Bleeding Steel, as the lead villain, and here he is playing Elena's dad. And I love that he played a straight acting role here of sorts, and his chemistry with Elena is great in this one.
He's sneaky, like hilariously funny too. Like he plays these drama roles so well, but like he's hilarious. I was cracking up in between every take.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's subversive. He's subversive in the best possible way.
Yeah.
And we just mentioned it before. The corn monster was one of the big highlights because we never get to see that monster in any. I don't think they show him in any of the other Children of the Corn movies, as far as I know. So this is the first time we got to experience the actual monster. What was like? How did that come about? Like, how did that pop in your head? That when you were writing the script and like.
Well, I did debate. I'm going to be 100% honest. I did debate. I said, should I leave this creature as merely a psychological phenomenon or a monster of the id, or should I manifest it in reality? And the more I thought about it, I said, listen, if we're going to make a movie about, the children of the corn, and the corn is, even as Stephen King created it, it is inhabited by this presence, he who walks behind the rose. I'm like, listen, if people are going to pay their $10, they want to be entertained. Just show them the damn monster.
There you
Yeah,
go.
because it was great. I remember this on set. They had it in the script that there was the monster, but I remember there was always that discussion of like, we might not show the monster. It might be more scary to not show it. And I was like, no, you gotta get it. At least the reveal at the end, because that's the guilty pleasure. And I love monster. I think that will make or break movie, how scary the monster is. And I loved how it came out and did so domain, props to them. But I remember there was that conversation going on, but Kurt was on the other side, and we were both like, give him the monster, give him the goods.
It was a discussion worth having. I mean, we really had to think about it carefully and it's as you said, sometimes no monster is scarier than a monster. But then again, I think they've already done no monster 10 times. So, you have
to, and like you said, like I said, most of the other films, the actual adults were like the main characters, and here we have an actual teenager as the main character. So yeah, you gotta change it up now and again. So and that's why I like this one. It was a totally new vision, and I hope like everyone does get to finally see this. But one of my big question I always ask people who work on films is, how long did shooting take, and what challenges did you actually face during production?
Well, that's an easy one. First of all, as I recall, our original schedule was 29 days. The challenge is, which Kate and Elena will weigh in, is COVID. We started in April 2020. We were the only film shooting on Earth for 2 months. For April and May, the length of our shoot, we were the only film shooting on Earth. Everything else was closed down. And so there were no COVID protocols. Nobody knew what COVID was. They were trying to figure out, what the hell is this thing? And we had to invent our own protocols in order to keep everybody safe. And, knock wood, thank God we did. In a set full of young children, nobody got sick, and we got through it.
That's awesome. And I gotta say, a big highlight of the scene was, I gotta say this, I think that out of all the films, I don't know if I've seen them all, but this might have most movies where the most adults die, because there is that scene where the adults get buried in the dirt, and that was an amazing scene right there. How did you manage to pull that off as well?
Well, there's, the adult population of Australia is a lot smaller than it was before we shot. If you say that.
I'll go off of what Kurt said here, Albert, and just add in, like, it's a miracle. Like, we pulled that off, but it's a miracle we pulled off this movie just in general, because I think he said it perfectly, but I don't quite know if people understand just the enormity of the challenge that we had in doing this when nobody knew how to get this kind of thing done. We had, luckily, Lucas Foster anchoring and leading us alongside Kurt and Sean Harner and Rollins, and he would, keep us all calm and tell us, here's the plan, here's how we're going to do it. But, we would have situations where someone would get a headache and have a bit of a temperature from the heat, and we'd have to shut down for 2 days because they had to do a PCR test, and they didn't have the rapid ones at that time. So we'd have to wait the 2 days, and we thought, oh my gosh, we're done. We're going to be shut down. We're going to be out of the job, and then we have to do the tracing. Like, so much stress intentional in this movie. There were so many roller coaster like ups and downs, but we had to have a little bit of craziness to go forth and do it. Such a leap of faith, but it's also that tenacity and grit to get this thing done. But it was still a joy, though, even with those protocols in place, having even like the 6 feet distance and having clean Dean in between every take. This lovely guy would come in and spray our props, clean our hands for us. Stuff that you take for granted, like shaking someone's hand or touching someone in a scene, or just just touching someone's face. Like, all those things had to be thought through, and we'd have so many last minute changes to dialogue and blocking in a scene because of those protocol. So we really did write the book that was then implemented on other sets. And since that was 3 years ago and COVID's calmed down since then, people don't realize just how significant that was. When we say we shot through COVID, we did it.
And it's that too. That's the logistical issues are certainly the case, but also creatively it became an enormous problem because they started talking about social distance. And when you've got, a bunch of adults in a jail cell or in a pit, and people are saying, well, they're going to be 6 feet apart. They're like, wait a minute, that's going to look really stupid. How do I shoot this so I can stack these people so that we're hiding the fact that, that we can only put a certain number of people because of COVID into this particular set. How do I hide that? And the fact that they're not on top of each other like they normally would be. It was extremely challenging.
It's actually, I believe Andrew Rollins used a bit of Lord of the Rings trickery in like a lot of this, all the scenes. We are 6 feet apart. They used like depth of field trick. I don't know how to explain it to make it look like we were closer than we all were. Like, we would have conversations. I'm like, is this gonna look, guys, really?
We would position the people in front of the camera such that you couldn't see the spaces between them, but they were there.
That's amazing. And all right, so I'm going to ask you guys each this. What would you say was one of your favorite scene that you shot, or maybe your favorite death scene? I'm going to ask each one of you this one. So, I'm going to start with Kate. Like, oh, she's thinking real. Kate, I can see Kate right now. She's like,
I got to think through these. Okay, there's a lot. All right, and I do all of it. Let's see. All of them have some sort of impact to the story, and I feel like that's really important. I think the hanging scene, because it's like the whole beginning, the feeling is so eerie, like you don't know what's going on, there's no one around, and Beau's just like
there's a horse.
There was a horse with a rope attached to something. It was just like, that's a bit weird. And then when you finally find out, like, it's kind of like the community center is like almost Eden in a way, where it's like she's like this normal, she presents as this normal person on the outside, but the inside there's something going on in there, and that was kind of represented by the whole hanging thing going on. And I thought that was so interesting too, because she was so unfazed by the whole thing. She's sitting there eating an apple, like, all right, let's watch this happen. So yeah. I think that's my favorite. That's it.
All right, Elena, what's yours?
You know what? I gotta give it to He Who Walks and Sheila Boyd. I mean, that to me was horrifying.
Yeah.
The build up of the reveal of him, like, because you don't know what's coming, and then when then you get his reveal and how she's just ripped, and then she gets like the wishbone treatment. I'm like, oh my gosh, and then she's dragged. I mean, it is a lot to.
I gotta say, I'm with you on that one. That was actually my favorite scene in the movie. I was
gonna ask you, but I always thought you were gonna go with the Buried Alive. But I mean, hey, they're up there.
That one, yeah, because your reaction to seeing that happen, your character's reaction was what did it for me right there. I was like jaw dropping.
And she's like, help me, and then boom, I'm like, oh, my poor self is loving it.
My favorite scene is, frankly, the scene in the car between the two ladies, because that was the whole movie built up to that mano a mano. There's nothing else to interfere. There's no blocking. They're not moving. They're just sitting there, and the camera's on them. And these two actors are going at it. And that's the whole movie's built up to that. It's my favorite scene, and I think they're both absolutely sensational. And both should get Oscars for it, you know. And I loved it, and I was looking forward to shooting it, and it, you know, exceeded my expectations.
That's awesome. So finally, what's next for each of you guys? Well, Elena, I got a pretty good idea what's next for you, because you're in one of my favorite franchises, My Big Fat Greek Wedding. And I know you just did the third one. So I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, Albert, we shot it all over Greece, Kerkira and Athens, and everyone's back. And it's so, oh my God, shooting it in Greece was surreal because I'm a very proud Greek girl. So it's coming out soon too, like September 8th.
September 8th,
so
yep.
that's coming out. But if you like Silence of the Lambs or Seven, it's a completely different Vindicta, which I shot right after that for Paramount, is going to come out. And then right now we're prepping for something, I can't say what it is or who the director is, but it's a phenomenal project. We're going to be shooting in Rome, Sicily, Palermo. So more on that very soon.
Nice.
But thank you. And I can't wait for you to tell me what you think of Greek Wedding 3.
Oh, yeah, you'll definitely know. All right, Kate, what's up for you next?
Last summer I filmed a movie based on the book called Out of My Mind. It's I'm really excited for that to come out. It's coming out on Disney Plus some point this year. It's about a girl with cerebral palsy. It's an awesome story. I love it so much. I read it in grade 5. And then also I'm in a couple episodes of the TV series, season 2 of the TV series Reacher. So that's also going to come out eventually, but we'll see.
Oh, really? That's exciting. Can't wait.
All right, and Kurt, what's next for you?
I have a movie that is in the can of David Ayer directed called Beekeeper, starring Jason Statham. We're looking forward to that coming out in Miramax. I also have Expendables 4 coming out later this year.
Nice. I'm looking forward to that one too.
Yeah. And they both have they're both Jason.
That's awesome. Well,
Just
Children of
quickly,
the Corn.
Albert, I'm sorry
Yep.
to interrupt, but like
Yep,
you
no, go ahead.
mentioned, I did not miss your mention of a Jackie Chan movie, okay? And I'm gathering you're a martial arts fan of like
Yes, I am. I've been a lifelong martial arts fan. So,
okay, have you seen Kung Fu Hustle?
twice in the theaters. Okay.
One of my favorites. I love also.
Okay,
everything
you know what?
from
You and I are gonna have to
Jackie
keep in touch at this point with this, because
Social media, let's make it happen, because I caught that. I was like, what?
Yep.
And that to me was one of my many favorites, but the Kung Fu Hustle, because I just think like the creativity with the fight sequence are just out of this world. So
Yeah,
I thought you'd
awesome.
appreciate it.
All right. So Children of the Corn will be out this Friday. And man, I mean, those who love a new vision on a classic will want to see this. And Elena, Kate, Kurt, thank you so much for taking the time to talk about it. And I just had a total blast with you guys.
Our pleasure. It's been a pleasure talking to you too.
Bye. Thank
right.
you, Albert, for your support and taking the time.
All right. Yep. So you guys take care, and we'll see you all next time.
Okay, you too.
All right. Bye-bye.